Olivia, 3, 2, all you.
So everybody knows about inflation, and everybody knows going out to eat and do basically anything is crazy expensive. And simply getting gas, the prices are constantly jumping up and down. So when people go out to eat and they're shown this on a computer screen, sometimes, and I personally have seen, there's no option for a 0% tip. And people are like,
yeah, you can. You can click custom.
yeah, you can put 0, but
Yeah.
then, in my opinion, it makes me feel like guilty for not tipping because those are the choices, and I have to go in and click 0. So I just feel sometimes that tipping is getting way out of hand in America and just across the world because of inflation. So tipping sometimes can feel mandatory, and it's like, should tipping be mandatory? It's like the big picture and what I'm going to talk about. So the current minimum wage for tipped employees is only just above $4. And that's in Michigan. That's not like everywhere. That's in Michigan. So these servers and hostesses, they're only getting paid $4 an hour, and their life is depending on tips, like how much they get paid.
So they worked an 8-hour shift.
Yeah.
That got no tips.
There's people
$32 and then taxes taken out of it.
Yeah. There's some people that can be given $20 for 3 hours. That's less than $10 an hour. Or they can be given $200. Your life is depending on how much you're tipped. And a lot of people can think that it's rude or disrespectful to not tip or tip under 20%, which makes tipping feel like you have to do it because these people are living off of your money, your tips. So people shouldn't need to live off how much am I going to make tonight besides the additional $4 an hour. They don't need to live off of like, am I going to make $20 or am I going to make enough to go pay my bills and go to dinner with friends by the end of the week. So what I am arguing is that it shouldn't be mandatory to tip people. It shouldn't feel mandatory like you have to go to dinner and pay more on top of what you're already paying for your meal to give a server the best life. So back to the screen, the average tip, like what people mostly tip is 20%. And a lot of people also can see this where it shows like little comments under the amount percentage they have to tip. It might be hard to see.
Oh, that's cool. 15% is good, 18 is great, 25 wow, and 30 is best service ever.
Yeah. I have also seen ones like this where no tip is an option, but there's little comments persuading you to tip more and continue to, be a good citizen that tips a lot. So what I'm saying is people shouldn't have to live based on if they make $40 or if they make $400, and that people shouldn't have to be giving other people money to do their job and paying more money for their meal just to pay a server. Like they shouldn't, if their meal's $10, they shouldn't have to pay $30 to tip the server $20.
Right.
Like nobody should have to pay more, which goes back to inflation because with inflation and the numbers rising, everybody having to pay more, a lot of people can't even afford to go out to eat, and when they do, they're expected to pay more on top of their cheap meal, and their kids are 13 getting the kids' meal because they simply can't afford it, and now they're having to pay extra to make people live a good life. So basically, inflation is causing people to pay more to simply go out to eat, and what the overall argument is that I'm saying is that people shouldn't have to be given a screen and be like, oh, tip, but by the way, if you don't tip me, I'm face to face with you and can tell what you're gonna feel if I give a 0% tip. So that's kind of what goes on in the world today is people live off of how much they make. And I personally believe that servers should be paid the minimum wage, which in Michigan is currently $10.33, and they shouldn't have to live off of like how much they make. They should just be paid minimum wage, and people shouldn't be handed a screen and like, oh, basically you're paying me to do my job, so fix it.
Cool. Well done.